Marsens Domain.
Hey everyone, Marsen here, and welcome to another episode of Will It Make the Switch? Today we'll be looking at Metroid. So, Metroid is a game that fans have been asking for a very, very long time. And yes, I understand that we got one recently, that being Metroid Prime Federation Force, but the sales of that game and the initial reaction, nobody wanted that game. That game is not what Metroid fans wanted, and it's very clear. However, Metroid Prime Federation Force, even though not many people own it, bought it, or even want to play it, I don't want to give any spoilers, but I did watch the ending of it, and it has a cliffhanger ending. So that alone is lending itself to another Metroid game. But the positive note is that since the game didn't do well, which normally is not a positive note, since people didn't really like it, and it didn't do well, and it being technically a Metroid Prime game, I mean, it's in the name, and it had a cliffhanger ending, that's lending itself to having another Metroid Prime game. And since this one did bad, one could only assume that they'd make a new Metroid Prime game, except not on the 3DS. They'd make a real Metroid Prime 4 for the Nintendo Switch. Because Metroid Prime is known from critics and consumers as one of the best video games of all time. So Nintendo can't deny that people are itching for a new Metroid game. And something that favors towards the idea of Metroid making it to the Switch is, in an interview, Reggie Fils-Aimé, the Nintendo of America president, was asked if they planned on bringing back any old IPs. And Reggie responded by saying that he has been asked the most about Mother 3 and Metroid in terms of what games we'll see. And after he said that he has been asked multiple times about both those titles. And what he said in response was, let's wait a year from now and see where we're at. We'll look back at this time and see where we're at. So he's essentially alluding to the fact that we will be getting a new Metroid game. Because why would he say that, and why would he be so vague? I mean, if he knew that we weren't going to get a new Metroid game, why would he even bother bringing it up? He would just ignore it. He could have just said, we don't have any plans to talk about old IPs coming back. Or Nintendo is all about creating new, fresh ideas, so old IPs aren't really in the works right now. There's so many other ways he could have answered that, but he decided to answer it in a vague way where he said, let's wait a year from now and see where we're at, and that we can look back at this time a year from now. It was just really strange, and it really is leaning more towards them actually making a brand new Metroid game. Because for him to even acknowledge that Mother 3 and Metroid were the ones that were talked about the most means that they're very well aware that people want this to happen. And the Switch is perfect for a Metroid Prime game. Because when they made Metroid Prime 3 for the Wii and you had to use motion controls, with the way the Switch is, you could do either or. You could use the Joy-Cons and use motion controls, or you could just use the Switch Pro controller. And an even added bonus is since they're marketing the Switch with, it has HD Rumble, they could do a lot with that with Metroid. Like if you're scanning around for stuff, it could rumble in a specific way that would show like the depth of how far it is in a wall or something. There is so much they could do with that. If you're charging a shot, you could feel the rumble on when it's fully charged. There's so much that they could do with that. And again, you could choose to play however you want because you use the Joy-Cons, has HD Rumble and motion controls, or you could use the Pro Controller, still has HD Rumble, and play the traditional way. And the Pro Controller has a gyro sensor, so you could still aim with motion controls even using the Pro Controller. There are so many different ways to play, and I think it would cater to a large audience, because it would be a shooter that you could play how you want. And it would be a Metroid Prime game, assuming that, they would continue from the cliffhanger from Metroid Prime Federation Force, and allowing them to make a brand new Metroid Prime game for a console. It being a Metroid Prime game would already get a ton of fans to really look into the Switch, if they're not already. And Metroid Prime Federation Force having poor sales, and Reggie still saying that he gets asked the most about Metroid coming back, and not even mentioning Metroid Prime Federation Force, that's a really good sign, because Reggie could have easily said, well, we did bring Metroid back. We made Metroid Prime Federation Force. But he chose not to say that. And I think it's for good reason. I think they plan on releasing a new Metroid Prime game. So yes, I do think that Metroid will make the Switch. But that's just my opinion on this, so I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below on if you think that Metroid will make the Switch, or if you don't think it'll make the Switch, or just your thoughts in general. Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone.